Welcome to today's Power Hour Gardening Challenge. And if you don't know about the Gardening Challenge, it is where we challenge ourselves to get out in the garden for at least an hour. And so we break that down into that time block, and I find during the challenge myself, I'm able to get a lot more done. So today, because of life being lifey, I have got commitments on today, so I've got a very short period of time to get something done. So I've zoomed in on what the most important thing is for today, and that is to get as many of these planted as possible. So these are my tomato cuttings, were taken about a week ago to 10 days ago, 7 to 10 days, and they are full of roots and need to go into pots now. So these need to be done, and I need to sow some more seeds for summer. Things that I've had sitting there that I haven't yet sown, and I don't want to not sow them. But before we nick over to the potting bench to quickly show you the planting, I want to show you an update on bed number 2. Now, there has been a bit of a confusion with bed number 1 and 2, and that has been my fault. I've been calling 1, 2 and 2, 1, but anyhow, the one behind me is bed number 2. So I'll quickly show you, because you would have seen me say this. I have planted 2 lots of the butternut pumpkins in the corners of this bed, and I've put 3 seeds in each. So I'll just nip off, if I get more than one coming up, I'll nip off the rest, keep the strongest ones. And this can grow up and over behind me, this water tank. So that's the idea for here. And these are butternut squash that I've just thrown some rope on here, some string, but I actually want to put a more permanent structure up here. And now it's very different, and I'll show you the update. So I'll show you the plants. They have grown enormously, and I've even been harvesting some of them, like this dill. I've cut back probably to 1/3 of its size. Been harvesting beautiful dill, and it's a new herb that I am enjoying. And I've not had it fresh before, to be honest with you. And I find just even taking a little bit of dill off the plant here and nibbling on it. Some herbs, you take a bite and you realise it's only for inside the cooking with just a little bit of herbs. But fresh dill is so lovely to eat and to nibble on when you're in the garden. And throwing with salads and all sorts of cooking. It's not an obtrusive herb, it goes with a lot of things, and I'm really enjoying this new herb in my garden. So this butternut squash, how big it's grown, and we've actually added the supports for it. So originally I had it on a string tied to a pergola frame that I had here. We've removed this. It served me well, but I saved my little monies, and I've bought this Rio here, which will rust and turn nice and rustic, but we've put it in here as a stable permanent structure, and it goes up here, and we've got another piece attached to the top up here that comes down, and it's at the moment it's just resting on that water tank. So the squash will be able to grow up and over that and create a shelter in here. So we're still able to get into weed and do whatever I need to do in here. Eventually I want to be able to actually walk through there. So that's one of the jobs on my list for this year, if possible. So we want to be able to get through there, but we've got the structure now for the squash to climb, sit on and overhang, do whatever it wants to do, and I'll be able to maintain it from there. And at the top of the structure, there's 2 pieces of wood that are attached, giving it a bit more support up there, and I'll be able to put net over it and have some kind of canopy on this bed now. Much easier if I need to net it from birds or insects. And you can see at the back, the sunflowers have grown quite a lot in that time, as have all the other plants, the tomatoes, the marigolds. The carrots are well and truly up. You can see the little purple colour there. And at the back here, the onions are bulbing up. I did give them a little bit of a trim, but they're bulbing up. The grass is trying to come through still. I'll just keep chipping away at that as I see it and pull it out and hopefully get on top of that a bit better this year. I mean, it does stay at bay with the mulch for the season usually, but it'll be good to be able to actually really discourage it from this bed. And then the tomatoes are well and truly lots of flowers, and we have little babies on some of them. So this is a nice big one, the different sizes, and this little one here has little fruit. So we'll have tomatoes soon, which is exciting. The golden zucchini is very happy. I've started to support it on the stake here. You can see I've just got one of, it's not the main stem of it, but I was starting to teach it to go straight up. And then we're getting nice zucchinis on there. These are going to be picked very soon, probably tonight we'll pick these. I've been watching them and waiting for a good size for the first couple. And there's a lot coming up behind them. You can see there's a lot on this. Now these are saved seeds, so they are producing a whole lot more than the previous one, previous year. This is a scarlet runner that has been in this bed for probably a couple of years. So this will start to come up. Now I'll have to watch that this one, it stays out of the zucchini because it's pretty much planted very close to it. And now I've got the structure, I'll be able to gently pull it through. I mean, it wasn't there a day or two ago. This is why it's good to get out in the garden every day, walk around and try and see what is happening, because once the weather picks up, things take off. Okay, so we've got a start of a plant here that wants to go up. So now we've got this, we will tell it to go up here. You can climb now, my lovely scarlet runner. There you go. You have your own space. You don't need to cling onto the zucchini. So that's right here on the edge of this bed. So it can go up there. And there's some beans in the back. I didn't think these beans would survive, but a few of them have. So I've got 3, 4, 5, about 5 or 6 plants along there. You can see that they were attacked, so I lost some of them, but some of them managed to get past that. And I haven't put any traps here or anything, so. And we are, look, something trying to get to my flowers already here. Let me just get you off. That I buy for the chickens to eat. So I have no idea what that sunflower is going to look like. It looks like they're getting quite tall. And I'll probably add a bit more pea straw to that bed as things mature just a bit more. Just leaving the pea straw out in the rain so it can naturally start to break down a bit. It's easier to manage when it's broken down. And this that's on it is the sugarcane mulch, which is much finer, but it breaks down pretty quickly. But I wanted to get some pea straw on it too. I'm waiting for the timing of that. That is not sitting there for this bed though. That's being moved somewhere else. And so on bed number 1, that I called 2 recently has got the pea straw on it. So, and the pea straw is actually easy to move aside if you want to add something underneath it as well, while it's still fairly fresh. This pea straw has been soaking in cow manure for a couple of weeks, so it's nice and inoculated in manure. So the worms should absolutely love it. Okay, let's get to the potting bench and quickly do as much as I can. Might even have to do some later, I'm thinking, because I've played in the garden with you just then. Let the chickens out and get some plants planted. You've been waiting. I know, you could hear me talking. You're sitting there waiting so patiently. Oh, let me shut the gate. That could end up badly. Okay, girls, you're out for a little while and then I'll have to put you away again. Yes. Oh, you okay? Good morning. Hello. Good morning. How are you this morning? Okay, so I'll have to make some room here because the potting bench is pretty full. So what I'll do is there's a few things I do want to plant out later today. I'll remove them. There's a lot here that needs to be up-potted or planted out. But I'll unload that and put some things out of the way so we've got some room. Now, I also have these. I'm trying China graph pencils for tags. They're a wax pencil, seeing if they work better. The white doesn't kind of go on very well, but the black seems to look okay. So I'm trying that, but I've got these ochre that are, look, they're sprouting. They need to go in somewhere. I've got these climbing beans I want in, and these beans too. So they are on the list, but the most urgent here is the white shutut mulberry cuttings that I took the other day that they were sitting in honey, and then I've added some water. But as you can see, the leaves are quite crispy because they didn't have water the first day or two, and now they really need to go in soil. They should have gone in soil before. So these beans can come off the bench, and I've got 2 dill plants here. Now, if you saw the dill in my other bed, these were planted at the same time, but just kept neglected in pots instead of in the soil. That's the difference it can make. So the tomatoes would be better off in long pots like this. See how tall that is? But I don't have, I've got one of these. I don't have them. I have these that I swapped at a crop swap. So I'm just using what I've got access to. Now I also have these old seeds, a nectarine seed and a yellow peach seed that I'm going to put in, and stranger things have happened. I have actually managed to grow from seed before nectarines. It was going well until my husband thought it was a weed and brush cut it. Gem squash, so those, and some sweet corn. Okay, so it turned out I only had 10 minutes to do that. So I've got all the tomato cuttings in. I'm just pushing the nectarine and the peach seeds in quickly. I've got the raspberry in and the white mulberries. 12. Okay, so they're done. But that just goes to show 10 minutes quickly, and all of those are not waiting to be potted up, they're potted up. So the gem squash actually went into the garden a week later, or actually 8 days later. So they come up pretty quickly in the warm weather, and that a lot of these were planted out. But the other mid-December job to do was to lift the bulbs. So a lot of bulbs have almost finished or completely finished and been finished for a little while. So there was areas of the garden that I had dedicated to bulbs, and this area here was in the alleyway, and they didn't grow that well there. And it wasn't the soil. The soil is quite good. In fact, it's very, very light there. That bed was built up on piles and piles of weeds and lots of worms turning it into nice soil, but it didn't get a lot of sun. So bulbs need sun. So I'm going to pull these up and plant them in a different spot next time. I had deliberately let this dry out so that the bulbs wouldn't rot, because I knew they'd been finished for a while and I couldn't get to them. So now's the time to lift this up, and then I will do a little bit of work here and keep this moist, ready for planting something else in now. In this position here, it was under a big tree. It was a little bit further up on the alleyway, and the hyacinths did well here, but not a lot else grew okay there. So I was surprised that the hyacinths grow under a shade, or they did, but I'm still going to move all these and put them somewhere else. Now that there might be a little bit too early to pull up, but honestly, if I don't do it this day, it just wouldn't get done. So I've risked it. I've always found it difficult keeping bulbs, to be honest with you. I always lose them in the garden, if they're in the garden, so I'm inclined to keep them in pots, but then you've got the watering issue. So it's very hard to regulate it in the pots as well. So apart from this little area, I do still have to dig up my tulips, but I'm leaving some in the ground, like jonquils and daffodils in some places around the property, to see if they'll just keep growing by themselves without being dug up. Some bulbs are more sensitive than the others, and so I'm just trying that. Now that soil is so beautiful now, I don't want to lose the nutrition in it, so I need to get something on the top. So just because it was handy beside me, and I know it's so good for the soil, I grabbed comfrey leaves from a plant that was about 1 metre away, and I covered the soil with that.